Good morning, Year 4, and welcome to your maths lesson for today. We are going to continue looking at equivalent fractions today, but we are going to be using something called a fractions rule to help us decide and figure out which fractions are equivalent. To start with, I have your daily fluency questions. Can you please spend no more than 3 minutes? Write down your answers on a piece of paper, please. Off you go. Okay, so writing the next two fractions in the sequence, we can see that we are going up in tenths. My denominator is not changing, but my numerator is going up by 2 each time. So my next fraction in the sequence would be 9 tenths, and then adding 2 more from 9 would be 11 tenths. Number 2, what fraction is shaded? Well, we can see that we have got 11, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 all together, and 6 out of that 11 is shaded. And finally, which shape has the larger area? It is B. Okay, you have some more fluency questions here to help you with today's learning. So first of all, what equivalent fractions can you see in the bar model? So use bar model 1 and bar model 2 to find some equivalent fractions. And also, can you use the number line to help you find the equivalent fractions for 3/5 and 15/15? So pause the video now and have a go. Okay, how did you get on with number 1? Did you realise that my first model has been split into ninths? So we can say that each part is worth 1/9. And my second bar model has been split into 3. So we could say these are thirds. Did you notice that if we shade in 3/9, that's equivalent to 1/3? 2/3 would be equivalent to 6/9, and 3/3 would be equivalent to 9/9. Number 2 then, using the number line to find the equivalent fractions. Well, we can find 3/5 on our number line because we can see that the top part has been split into 5, and 3 sections along would mean that 3/5 is here because we've got 1, 2, 3 parts, and then we can count along in our 15ths to find how many 15ths that is. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 9/15. 15/15 we can spot on our number line as being here, and that is equivalent to 5/5, which is also the same as 1. Well done. Now, we are going to use our bar models again today to help us to find equivalent fractions, and then we are going to move on to looking at something called a fractions rule. Now I'm going to firstly split my bar into different ways to see if I can remember how to find equivalent fractions. So are you going to help me? Fantastic. So I can split my first bar into 2. So what is each section going to be? What fraction? That's right, they're going to be halves, and I can colour in one part of my bar model to show that that is half. I could have another bar model. This time I'm going to split it into 4. What's my fraction going to be this time? I can hear lots of you shouting, "A quarter, Miss Newman." Absolutely. How many quarters would I have to shade in to make it equivalent to my bar model above? There, 2. I would have to cover in 2 quarters, and that is equivalent to a half. If I split my next bar model into 6, what would my fractions be? 6. Fantastic. How many 6 would I have to shade in to make it equivalent to 1/2 and 2 quarters? 3/6. Well done. So we can see that 1/2 is equivalent to 3/6 and also 2 quarters. And finally, if I split my bar into 8, what's my fraction going to be? 8th. Fantastic. And how many am I going to have to shade in for it to be equivalent to a half? 4/8. Fantastic. So we can see here that 1/2 is equivalent. It is equal to 2 quarters, and it's equivalent to 3/6, and it's equivalent to 4/8. Fantastic, remembering year 4. So today we are going to look at a fraction rule. I know it probably seems quite scary, but When I explain it to you, your minds are going to be blown and you will have learned so much, okay? So this fraction wall shows bar models split into parts, just like we've been looking at in the last slide. So we can see here that my first fraction is 1. I've got 1 bar and it's split into no pieces, so it's just 1 out of 1, which is 1. My second part, this peachy orange colour, is a bar split into 2 sections, which means that it shows half. My mint green bar is a bar split into 3, and that shows thirds. My mustardy yellow bar underneath that one is split into 4, so it's split into quarters. Can you see the pattern? Can you guess what this dusky blue colour is going to be? That's right, it's a bar that's split into 5. It is going to be fifths, and so on until you get to twelfths. So you can see that it's a fraction wall because it starts at 1, and each time the bar is being split into more pieces. And we can see that this is 1/12 because there are 12 pieces to my bar, and that is just one of them. And I'm going to show you today how you can use this fraction wall to help you find equivalent fractions. And I'm going to show you an example and then it's going to be your turn, so make sure you listen carefully. I want to find a fraction that's equivalent to 5/6. How can I do this? Well, I know that if I'm looking at 5/6, I am going to be looking at my yellow bar because it has the same denominator, which is 6. Now, I can see that 5/6 is going to be 1, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6. So 5/6 is going to be this line here. Now, to find a fraction that's equivalent to 5/6, I need to use a ruler and carefully draw a line from my 5/6 up and down to see if any fractions level up with it. And I'm going to do that now. I can see. Well, does it match in my 11ths bar? No, it doesn't. It's slightly to the right of it, so that definitely isn't an equivalent fraction. But something it is an equivalent fraction in is my 12ths bar. Now, so am I going to say that 5/6 is equivalent to 1/12? No, I'm not going to say that, am I? Because I can see that there's lots more than just 1/12 that I've passed here. I have got 10 twelfths behind the line. So I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 twelfths. And I can see 5/6 is equivalent to 10 twelfths. Now it's your turn. Can you have a go at finding the equivalent fractions to the following fractions using the fraction wall to help you? Pause the video now and have a think. Use a ruler if that helps too. Okay, how did you do? Did you find that 2/5 you would have to look at this dusky blue section? 2/5, well, we've got 1/5 here, 2/5 here. So we are looking at this line here. If we draw a line downwards, we can see which fraction wall, which bar is it passing? It's passing the green bar. And that is my 10ths bar. How many tenths is that then? 1, 2, 3, 4. So I can see that 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10. Next one then, 2/3. I think I'm going to be looking at my peach bar. Am I correct? No, I'm not correct, am I? Why am I not correct? Yes, I'm going to be looking at my mint green bar because it has the same denominator. So I'm going to be looking at my mint green bar. But which line am I going to look at? Where is 2/3? You're absolutely right. I can count 1, 2, and 2/3 is this line here. I can then draw my line and I can see that I've gone into my yellow bar, which is my 6th. Counting along, 1/6, 2/6, 3/6, 4/6. I can see that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6. But wait, are there any other fractions that 2/3 are equivalent to? Shall we keep drawing our line and see if we can find any? 2/3 is also equivalent to something ninths. How many ninths can you see that this is equivalent to? Pause the video and have a think. Did you spot it was equivalent to 6/9? But also, it's also equivalent to something 12ths. Pause the video. How many 12ths is it equivalent to? Did you get it right? It's also equivalent to 8/12. So sometimes our fraction wall can show multiple fractions that are equivalent. Finally then, 6/8. Which bar am I looking at? My red one, well done. No, not red, my purple bar. And I can see that 6/8 are here. I can draw my line down and see that it is equivalent to 9/12. But also, it's equivalent to how many quarters? 3/4. Fantastic. Is it equivalent to any others? No, it's not, is it? Is it equivalent to my 11ths? No, it's not, is it? Why not? That's right, the line doesn't go straight through. It has to go straight through to be an equivalent fraction. Okay, now it's your turn to have a go at the 2 worksheets for Resource 1 today, Year 4. Pause the video now and have a go at those. Okay, so we're going to have a look at some reasoning questions today, and Nisa is investigating fractions and she says 5/7 is equivalent to 10/12. Let's have a look, is she correct or not? First of all though, pause the video. Do you think she's correct? Okay, did you think she's correct? Let's find out. So her first bar model is a bar split into how many sections? 7. And she's coloured in 5 of them in pink, and that correctly shows 5/7. Now my second bar, how many pieces is this split into? 12, fantastic. Now, if I count 10 of them, then that should mean I should land here. 5/7. Let's have a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10/12 is here. If I match it up, that is not the same as 5/7. So first of all, we can say that Nisa is incorrect, but because it's a reasoning, we have to explain why. Why is she not correct? What has she done wrong? 5/7 is not equivalent to 10/12. She incorrectly said that it was equivalent when it's not. Let's have a look at one more reasoning question then. So this one's a bit trickier. We need to find out which of the shaded and written fractions below are equivalent. Which of them are the same? So let's start with A. What fraction is A showing? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, so A is showing 3/6. Now, what fraction of this shape is 3/6? What other equivalent is it? What does it look like it's shading in? If we ignore the lines, it's shaded in half. So we could say that it's actually half. Now, if we had 6/12, what is that the same as 2? If we had 12 altogether and we split it in 6 parts, that's also the same as half, isn't it? Because 6 is half of 12. So that would be half of our shape, which was our 6th. Oh, okay. Now this shape here, this looks quite like A, doesn't it? That's also half. Oh, now we know that some of these shapes are halves and some of them are not. So we need to find our shapes which are halves. Is D half? Is 2 half of 3? No, it's not, is it? So that's not a half. Now I hope E is half, because if it is half, I know that D is my odd one out, because all of the other fractions show half. E has how many altogether? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. How many are shaded in? 2, 4, 6. So that also represents 6/12, which is equivalent to half. So which ones are the odd ones out? D is the odd one out. A, B, C and E are equivalent. How do we know? What do they all represent? They all represent half. D is not equivalent. Why? Because it's 2/3 and that is not the same as half. So now I would like you to have a go at the reasoning and problem worksheets, please. Have a lovely rest of your day and I will see you in our next lesson. Goodbye, Year 4.